Public's meeting law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this provision of the Act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted with the Star Ledger and Express Times and submitted to the town clerk of the town of Belvidere on January 9th, 2023. The meeting will be live streamed at www.belvideresd.org. Flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Shelley.
Mr. Ackerman, Mr. Blum, Dr. Zuppeth,
Here.
Mrs. Duckworth,
Here.
Mrs. Gardella, Mr. McElroy,
Here.
Mr. Scott,
Here.
Mrs. Steffen,
Here.
Mr. Ciccarelli,
Here.
Mrs. Weidlich, Mr. Winter,
Here.
Mrs. Winter.
Here.
Before we start on our committee reports, we have with us tonight our outstanding BHS cheerleaders. And I'm almost tempted to ask Coach Exley to get up so she can talk, just because I watch her sit down with the bad knee. But I don't know, hamstring, sorry. I don't know if you have somebody, one of the cheerleaders wants to speak on your behalf, or you're going to do us the honors, or Mr. Bartow.
I'll start first. So the cheerleading team is here. They are the small varsity non-tumbling game day Northeast region first place UCA team, and they qualified for a bid at Nationals in February on the 9th in Disney. So they're going to Disney World. So they've been doing an excellent job, working hard. Coach had major surgery, and she's still killing it. And then shout out to Cricket Gulix, who stepped up and has been helping out in a big way. So the girls are doing an awesome job. We wish you nothing but the best. But I have a poster, so if you guys would want to go over there and we can take a picture, if you guys want to join them, or they can go behind you, we can, up to you guys.
Whatever you want.
Leah, you want to give a speech?
My name is Lee. I'd like to say thank you to Miss Exley for being awesome. Even with that steel knee, girl, you're still killing it. Love you all.
All right. Y'all moving this way? You come this way. Everybody can come this way.
You want us all to go in?
Whatever.
Okay.
It's my favorite sport. I'm going to get down here like this. Go team.
We want you front and center. Yes! That's the one.
First place. Right here. Cut off people's heads. Makes it easier.
So Morris just volunteered? Is that what I heard?
I don't think they could get me on top of that.
Thank you, girls. Good
Thank you,
job.
ladies.
Congratulations.
Excellent job. Yeah, it is.
Okay, we're going to move on to committee reports. Ad hoc Sports Committee.
I apologize, I didn't send out the notes, so I'm going to just read off from when I took them. It was Mr. Bartow and myself, and it was just the four of us, right? Were we missing anyone? Okay, I'm sorry, anyway. So we had the sports meeting, we talked a little bit about the app, which I'm really happy to say. Now we have some teams that are using it. We have wrestling is using, I think, Team Snap, and then we have basketball that just recently joined with Sports U. And it's a great communication system now for everybody, parents involved and students, to now have access to the schedule, to also have the ability to click on the address and go right to the schools and the games and have their navigation system just take them right there. We talked a little bit about also bringing on potentially Huddle, which is a streaming platform that I guess many of the schools have. It also keeps stats, which would help kind of free up some of our coaches so that they don't have to sit there and keep stats the entire time. And I guess the Huddle system will actually keep the stats for them. A lot of schools have them already in place, so this is something that we're going to take a look into, potentially put in next year. Not sure whether or not we're going to have to raise funds for it, or if it's going to be a budget item. So that's still being explored a little bit on that one. We talked about the bowling. Mr. Bartow, I don't know if he left or not at the meeting. We didn't have anything on the books just yet for scheduling, so I don't know if we have some stuff.
As of right now, we have 7 or 8. I'm looking to get 10. You need 7 scoreable rounds to make the tournament, both
Right.
individually. But right now, we have 7 or 8 on paper. Peaburg twice, Warren Tech twice, Warren Hills once, Bridgewater, Raritan, Hunterdon Central. And I'm looking to add probably South Hunterdon one or 2 times.
Thank you. And then how many again on the league?
Say that again?
How many students are involved with it?
They're actually doing a practice right now in Mrs. Koch's annex room, and there was 7, I believe, in there tonight, but there's 9 currently
Yeah.
rostered, and I believe there's one more that wants to join.
Okay, great. So it's just getting its feet, just getting the feet, and now we're getting some good people who are I'm sorry, I'm still have a little cold and I'm like a little off today. So it looks like we're having some good participation with that. We did talk a little bit about the challenges also of getting kids to be more involved in the sporting programs and things like that. We'll take a look, I guess, too, when we have some more updates as far as regionalization and what that might look like and things like that. So I think that was pretty much all that we discussed. It was kind of a short meeting. The biggest thing I think we were really looking toward was just getting more of the communication system in a better way, and the app seemed to be really doing that, so I was happy to see that we have most of the, at least winter sports, using the apps.
Any questions about that? All right, so on to instructional council.
So we met instructional council last Wednesday. Trying to remember. I also am getting over a cold too, so if I start to cough, I apologize. I did send the notes out on Monday. Dr. McKinney did a nice job of taking the notes. I don't know if you want me to go through anything or more in the sense of any questions about that, kind of where we are. But we talked about the life skills class that we want to bring in for next year, including trying to get some grant money to redo the room. We talked a little bit about the physics position, specific to AP Physics, and the fact that we move to an online platform specifically for the AP class, so that they could be taught at a much higher level. Ms. Chavone has done a great job, but I think she was pretty much teaching every period of the day, and she really needed a little bit of a break. And the AP Physics was a good area. And then we did talk a little bit about, and we'll talk a little bit about more of this in executive session with some of the HIBs, but we did talk about some of the issues that we've been encountering in the high school specifically, but also dribbling into the elementary school with some racial issues we've been having. But we're going to hold off on that because Dr. McKinney is going to report on that a little bit more detail and kind of how things turned a little bit today. So that was pretty much the meeting. It was actually a better part of an hour. Mary Ann and Melissa are both there, so I don't know if there's any more comments. That's the gist of it.
Any questions?
I had a question that I had emailed to Mr. Karuba, just trying to understand a little bit, I guess, what the school policy is and the guidelines that we have already in place, regarding race, and I guess if we have assemblies or things, how do we educate the kids on, being sensitive and choosing better words and things like that, I guess is, and I know you said you're going to put some stuff together and send it off to me, but
There's actually some stuff that was part of one of the reports that we'll talk about in executive with the HIB. And then there's been some other things that have been, it's kind of what I kind of like when I responded to is like, it's too much to just quickly list. And then even just some of the ideas that have come up over the last like week to 10 days, just and some of it's student driven too, about how we can handle the situation. So we'll, again, do a little bit more of a discussion of that because it's tied to one of the HIBs.
Any other questions? Okay, so I need a motion to go in executive session.
Motion. Second.
Okay. We'll go into executive session for personnel negotiations and HIB. Any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the closed session in approximately 20 minutes? 20 minutes? Okay, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, quicker probably. Yep. Okay, on to the regular meeting. The New Jersey Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted with the Star Ledger and Express Times and submitted to the town clerk of the town of Belvidere on January 9th, 2023. The meeting will be live streamed at www.belvideresd.org. Flag salute, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The mission of the Belvidere School District is to celebrate our past and empower our future while focusing on the four cornerstones of our district: tradition, excellence, academics, and community. We strive to build confidence and promote collaboration. We encourage an equal partnership with our students and staff as well as its community members. We empower everyone to develop the best version of themselves. The Belvidere School District is committed to shaping students into global citizens who take initiative for their success and contribute to the continued excellence of the district. Our students are leaders in the decision-making process of their education and will be prepared to excel in the 21st century society. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ackerman? Mr. Blum? Dr. Zeppeth?
Here.
Mrs. Duckworth?
Here.
Mrs. Gardella? Mr. McElroy?
Here.
Mr. Scott? Mrs. Steffen?
Here.
Mr. Ciccarelli? Mrs. Weidlich? Mr. Wenner? Mrs. Wenner?
Okay, we'll open to public participation. Anyone would like to have public participation? Come up to the microphone, please. Oh, just name and where you reside.
On the school district here. We decided that we would come and make our own opinion of the school district and take that chance. Our son is in second grade now and started here with kindergarten. Since then, our experience here has not been the best. He has been choked twice, punched in the face, kicked in the privates, threatened, and lost among several teachers and aides during gym class, in which case he walked the entire school to look for them and walked out the back doors to continue to look for them. We enjoy his teachers and his aides. We don't blame them. We feel that they are overwhelmed in the PE classes. It's hard for them to, I guess, account for all kids. But to us, that's a very serious thing that happened. We did express to him that if that happens again, he is to go to the office. Each year we come in with the start of a new year and the attitude of, let's hope for summer growth. This year has been the worst by far. Our interactions with Mr. Karabinas have not been positive ones when we have issues that arise and have to deal with him. He's condescending, he talks over us, he cuts you off, and doesn't give you the opportunity to speak. He felt when our son was choked in kindergarten, in which case he had to go to the nurse and have his oxygen checked and had fingerprints on his neck, that was an act of celebration from what he witnessed on video. I don't know about any of you, but I've never celebrated like that. And just recently, he thought it was funny in a PTO meeting that I volunteer my time to give to the school to help the school. We brought up a fundraiser for Principal of the Day, and he thought directing at me, having the kids come in and maybe answering his emails for him would be appropriate to say to me. And I don't know what he's talking about, what email he thinks would be appropriate. My son walking out of the school or my son being choked for the second time in 3 years of being in this school. It was completely inappropriate and not appreciated by me, considering that I'm giving my free time to this school. As you may know, we do have a HIB investigation going on for the bullying that is occurring towards our son. Everyone is giving different answers, nothing has been consistent, and personally a principal for a school to think that a child should be answering emails in regards to the issues that we're having shouldn't really be making a judgment of what is code of conduct or a HIB situation in our eyes. We do feel that there's a lot of things that need to be fixed to happen to make things run maybe a little smoother, starting with the gym. And I know that the teachers are very overwhelmed and we do feel for them in that situation, but I can't have that be at a cost of my son. We are very fortunate that he stayed on the sidewalk and walked around to yell for his teachers, and they eventually did hear him. But, you know, we're not alone in this. There's a lot of parents that do have concerns over the PE classes. We're just the parents that are willing to come here and speak to you today about it. And we hope that you feel it's important enough to bring attention to those issues and hopefully rectify and make some changes going forward, because my son at 7 years old is afraid to come to school. And all of you sitting here, I'm assuming most, if not all of you, are parents. I have to feel comfortable dropping my kid off at school every day, and right now I'm not. And we can't afford another option for him, such as homeschooling or redistricting him. So our option is that we drop him off here and hope that he is safe for the day. He's most uncomfortable in gym, and we have talked to him, and we had him talk to Mrs. Tierney as well. But he is not comfortable being around the child that continually harasses him and started threatening him in kindergarten. So we hope that you take that into consideration and make some changes going forward with mostly Mr. Karabinas' attitude towards parents that have concerns. I think that his reaction was unnecessary. I think that's it. Thank you for your time and your attention. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming out. Any other public participation? Okay, correspondence? Superintendent's report.
Okay. I will follow up with the Masons, just to make sure everybody understands. I'll I'll reach out to you either tomorrow or Friday. I have to check my schedule, but you'll hear from me no later than Friday afternoon. Just a few things to mention. One specific to the agenda is I just want to call your attention to on the add-on sheets that we are adjusting the dates on the Europe trip. Initially, it was going to be 7-day trip that was including stops in Vienna, Budapest, and Prague. Because we're a smaller group this year, we are being paired up with another group. And the options that were given to Ms. Koch were, number one, to shift the trip to earlier in that week, which would have caused our students to miss 4 days of school, or, at no extra cost to the students, add 2 days at the back end of the trip. So instead of a 7-day trip, they're getting a 10-day trip for the same cost. The only difference is that Vienna is being deleted, and Berlin and Krakow and Poland are being added into the trip. So I know there'll probably be a little bit of concern about traveling definitely closer to Eastern Europe at that point. Always keep in mind two things. Number one, the board always has the right, when we get closer to the trip, to pull the kids back. That happened one of my first years as superintendent because the situation that happened in Paris. And secondly, EFT, which is the group that we use, is monitoring all the situations. So if they feel that it's unsafe for the students to go, they will alter the trip for us. So as we get closer, we'll keep an eye on what's going on in the world events. Right now, somewhat safe area, I would think. You know, we're sort of away from the Ukraine and what's going on over there. From a educational point of view, it's an excellent trip, including trips to Auschwitz and a couple other of the major European kind of attractions. Personally, I was excited about the addition of Berlin in the trip. I thought that'd be kind of very cool for our students to see such another big metropolitan city. So probably again in January at the second meeting, I'll update everybody just to kind of see where we're at with that, just so everybody knows. Okay. We definitely got the winter sports going up and running. Tomorrow night, our boys basketball team kicks off their season here at home. Wrestling starts on Friday here at home also. Girls basketball is next week, I'm assuming at some point next week. One thing just to mention is this year we entered a co-op with Phillipsburg with our swimming team. They had their first meet last week. Dr. Troxel, superintendent over in Phillipsburg, sent me a nice article that was written over by one of the local Phillipsburg online mechanisms, just talking about how it's a win-win for both schools and how our students participated really well with the Phillipsburg students, and the season was off to a great start. So I thought that was worth mentioning, and I appreciate him sending me that article, and I think our kids are going to do really well with that Peaburg co-op, so excited about that. I think we talked about it before. Mr. Bartow mentioned about the bowling team up and running. I think that's excellent, too, to see. I'm excited for those students. Just a reminder, tomorrow night is our Christmas Spectacular at Belvidere Elementary School. Starts at 5 o'clock outside. Last night was the Christmas concert. I was unable to attend, and I'll talk about why I wasn't able to attend in a minute. But my understanding, it was great. The 7th and 8th graders were here this past Friday. Got to see the majority of the concert then. It was really, Mr. Zetterstrom and the kids did an outstanding job. Sometimes I'm truly amazed at the talent I see on that stage when it comes to students that can sing, and some of the instruments being played is just impressive for a small town. So congratulations to them. If you can make it out tomorrow night, feel free to come over, at least get some free hot chocolate, and then it's usually a really nice event. Just to mention, when we come back on the 3rd, we have our reorganization meeting that evening. We will be doing that AI presentation, as I had mentioned at the last meeting. So we'll probably carve out about a 45-minute presentation just to kind of go over everything so everybody sees that. We did today announce our Teachers of the Year for the district. So I'm proud to say that from the elementary school, our Educational Specialist of the Year was Ms. Cranance, who is one of our paraprofessionals. She does an outstanding job. And our Teacher of the Year for the elementary school is Mrs. Gomez, who's now teaching kindergarten for us this year. So congratulations to them. At the high school, our Educational Service Professional was Ms. Beth Hendershot, our school nurse. And our Teacher of the Year is Ms. Sarah Chavone, teaching all kinds of science up there in the science wing. So congratulations to both of them in high school and then in the elementaries. All four do an outstanding job, and we're proud that they're our Teachers of the Year this year. We had a nice faculty meeting this afternoon where we announced that. We also, thanks to the administration, had some nice events. We had a ugly sweater cookie contest to see who the staff member who can put together the best cookie decorating it. It was an ugly sweater, so we'll be voting on that tomorrow. Thanks to Dr. McKinney, who actually made all of the sweaters that needed to be decorated. And then all the other administrators also played a part. Mr. Bartow was the individual that went and got the food, so we thank him for that. And the staff, I think, enjoyed it. It was a nice afternoon, kind of laid back, and a nice way to celebrate our Teachers of the Year. Last night, I had the privilege of being with Dr. McKinney at Centenary, where she received a Visionary Award from Centenary University. If I can, I'd like to read what the plaque says, because I think it completely encompasses who Dr. McKinney is. And this was given last night. This is from Centenary University and the Visions Federal Credit Union Educational Leadership Award, proudly presented to Jessica McKinney, an innovative, transformative leader, always striving for what is best for the students and community of Belvidere, presented December 2023 at Centenary University. So congratulations to Dr. McKinney. It is a well-deserved award. It was a proud moment. I've worked with Jess for 14 years in various capacities. It's a well-deserved award. And the best part of the night was the surprise that her family was there. So when her family walked into the room and she had no idea she was getting the award, it was a really nice evening. So again, congratulations. And just want to wish everybody happy holiday. And for those of us that get a break, and those of you that hopefully on the board that get a break, enjoy your time off and have a great holiday season.
Can you send us a copy of that article about the swim team?
I can do that, yes.
Okay. All right, we have our student representative report. Please, Michaela.
Okay, so student government is selling snowball tickets now until the end of the week. Students Against Destructive Decisions is planning their events for No Name Calling Week in January. The FFA had their citrus fruit fundraiser a few weeks ago, and they were delivered to the school last night, and all the citrus fruits were sent home this afternoon. And then lastly, Belvidere Buddies is having their first event Friday evening, where members will be making cookies, bracelets, and watching a Christmas movie.
Great, thank you very much.
When is the snowball taking place?
Let me look. January 5th.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go on to agenda items for personnel. It's number 1 through 4 with your add-on edit sheet. Number 1, I need a motion for agenda items 1 through 4.
Motion.
Okay. Any questions on any of those items? No? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Duckworth?
Yes, with abstention from number 2.
Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Scott? Mrs. Steffen?
Yes.
Mr. Ciccarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Wenner?
Sorry, yes.
And Mrs. Wenner?
Yes.
And we're going to move on to education items number 5 through 10 with the add-on, with the field trip and the choir students. And I need a motion for 5 through 10.
Motion.
Any questions on any of them? No? All right, then we're going to do all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? No? Okay. So that will put us on to business items 11 through 14. Can I have a motion for items 11 through 14?
Motion. I'll make a second.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay, no questions? All right. So this is an all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? I abstained from number 12. Any noes? Okay. So that brings us down to continuing business. Does anybody have any continuing business for tonight?
I could just comment. It's actually sad. It's not your favorite question anymore. Regionalization study?
You don't ever know what I'm going to ask now.
I know. Since we, at the last meeting, approved the consulting group, I have to send out, and I'll send it out sometime early next week. They sent us an updated schedule of when we can expect deliverables for them. And we're also going to be meeting with the cluster group. I have to look at the date. I think it's the 16th of January at 4 o'clock. I could use one board member, just one, to sit on with that. And then we're just going to, the consulting group will just go through the process and what the expectations are and when they'll do that. They've already started doing some of the demographic studies. They're already moving along. 4 o'clock is the absolute time, though. So I know, like Mary Ann, 4 o'clock is a difficult time. I know. So if
If I
anybody,
had to, I could go, but if somebody else wants to go, it'll be
Yeah.
better.
Can you repeat the date again?
if you give me a second,
Yeah.
I try not to
Sure.
check my emails and things like that when I'm. Yeah, the 16th, January 16th at 4 o'clock at the White Township School.
I think I can go if you need.
Okay,
Put me down. If she can't go, then let me know.
okay. So Tyler, if you, something comes up and you know you can't go, let me know and I'll reach out
Yes,
to Mary Ann.
okay.
But otherwise, I'll have, thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's just a regular meeting.
No food.
I might be able to talk Mr. Thompson and bring in Hot Dog Johnny's, but that's probably the extent of it. And even that's probably a stretch. That's all I have in our continuing business.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else with continuing business?
Yeah, what's the status with Third Street? What was the next step?
I actually, a timely question. I got an email late this afternoon from the, what do we call the guy who did the assessor of the building, the price assessor? Fraser, thank you. Mr. Crude had reached out to him, so he left me an email to call him. So I need to do that, but that was this afternoon. So I think John reached out to him to try to get an idea of what the price was again, and then John will guide us from where to go from there.
Any other continuing business? New business?
I had put two things on the agenda. The first one is just, I wanted to notate that in your packet was the 24-25 budget calendar. It's a draft because I had not seen yet at the time the actual budget election calendar, but just as a guideline of how we go through the process. And the other item I put on there was about the 2024 meeting structure. So at the reorg meeting on the 3rd, you'll have all of the meeting dates for 2024. And we made a change in Harmony, I think it was sometime in this year, where instead of right now where we call to order, we do our committee reports, we go into executive usually for personnel or any other items, and then we call to order again. We just made it one continuing agenda so that we don't do the flags like salute twice, roll call twice, et cetera. So I wanted to see if everybody was okay with making that switch, and we would do that. So then we would just advertise a start at 6:30, and the meeting just flows.
Okay.
No stop and start for 7 p.m. Okay, just wanted to make sure it was okay with all.
Along those lines, I don't know if anybody, did anybody in the board attend the Warren County School Board meeting last week?
No, I was here.
We were here.
We had negotiations.
We had negotiations, that's
Yeah.
right. That's, I
Some
usually
of
look at
us
the
were
doc,
here.
doc usually goes, that's why I looked at you, that's right, it was
Yeah.
negotiations. I actually watched it, it was available online afterwards. One of the things they recommended, the New Jersey School Boards recommended was at the reorg meeting, setting the committees right then and there, rather than kind of how we do it, where we take a couple of weeks. And so I don't know if anybody, if that's something we want to consider, just hashing it out right then and there. So that way, you know, because I think last year, and in the year, a couple of years before, we would not have any committees in January because we didn't really know who was on the committees. So, I mean, it'd probably take like 10 or 15 minutes to do that. Just the one seat. Just I mean, technically, we had Mr. Winter who won both seats, so
You vote twice.
he can use both arms.
Early and
But,
often.
yeah, it's just the one seat, and then we'll advertise that seat, and it is a board prerogative to approve the person, appoint the person.
Actually, I was thinking about that. I would like to, try to have that done right away. So, if we wanted to, like, if there was anybody that really has a conflict with a particular committee that they can't serve on because of, conflicts, or if there's something that somebody really thinks they could be of value to certain committees, if you want to email it over to me, and I'll make a list of it, and then we'll have it for that meeting too. So whoever is doing this can set that up. I think that would maybe be helpful, because I'd like to get on that right away too.
Yeah, I think it'll be helpful to keep a lot of the processes moving rather than, January is actually a good month to get meetings in because people are here for sporting events and can kind of work around their schedule. So it might just be better to keep it moving rather than almost, really take almost 2 months off between December and January.
Yeah, so if there's something you really can't serve on or you are uncomfortable with, put that in. And then if there's something that you really, really are passionate about or have a lot of knowledge that you think you could be helpful for, give me both of those, and I'll make a list for us to have at the next meeting. Okay? All right. Any other new business? I have a little bit of new business. I just wanted to thank the staff in the school. November, along with all the other months that we have awareness of things, one of the things for November was diabetes awareness. And one of my daughters is diabetic, as many of you probably know. But one of her friends, Michaela McHugh, came up with the idea of let's do a Wear Blue for diabetes awareness. So it was a quick turnover. They emailed Dr. McKinney and Mr. Carabinas, and right away they got the green light, go ahead, put up posters right away that Monday, and people responded. A couple days later, they did it. It was great. Some of the staff used it as their dress down day and actually donated money. So between the money that the staff had given and my daughters have been, and some of their friends have been making bracelets and selling them at yard sales and other stuff at yard sales, and have been collecting money. So between all of that money pulled together, I was able to donate $300 to the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation in my daughter's name. And right now, for the holidays, there's a company that's doing a matching up to $35,000. So that $300 came to $600 for the organization. So that was really awesome. They do a lot of good things. When my daughter was diagnosed years ago, they gave her a backpack with their logo and a bear that shows you where to give shots, and books that they have a whole line of educational stuff along with doing their research. So it's a wonderful, wonderful group. I know our Mrs. Gately that was here, she used to do a lot of things with it. So from my family, I thank everybody how great it is. Like, people say, what's great about Belvidere? The family, the support that you get from the staff, from the teachers, from, everybody. So I just want to say thank you, how great that was. And I know they're excited about wanting to do it again next November. So we'll see how that goes. Any other new business?
I'd just like to make a comment. So tonight will be my last night as a member of the Belvidere Board of Education. I'd like to thank all you guys for giving me the opportunity to serve over the past year. It's been challenging, enlightening, and eye-opening, and just to see what goes on behind the scenes day in and day out. I'd like to thank the administration, the teachers, and the students for all the hard work that they put in to continue to make this place special. As a former student and a parent of a current student, I wouldn't trade the perspective I've gained from sitting on this side of the table for anything, and it gives me ease to know that the district is in good hands. My door is always open, and I remain committed to supporting the district, supporting the success of the district where I can. I've truly enjoyed the experience, and maybe once I get a little bit better at managing my kids and my job and my life, it may be a year, maybe 2 years from now, but I'll be back. Thank you, everybody. I'm aware.
He said he needs 2 years. All right, any other new business? No? Okay, so our second public participation has been opened. Is there anybody? Okay, so then can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes? No? Okay, we're good. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you, too.